Hi, this is where we left off the last time, and in this tutorial we are looking at lighting and rendering. And this will be a three-part series because I'm going to show you three different ways of lighting in Blender. So stick with me. Guys, I've been with you for some time now, and the channel is growing small and I really appreciate. Please, to help me more, don't just watch, subscribe and like the videos, and most importantly, share it to your friend. Tell your friends about the new Blender channel so that they can also subscribe and watch the video and benefit from the 3D beginner Blender series too. Thank you for subscribing. It really means a lot to me. What is rendering? Rendering is the process of turning a 3D scene into a 2D image. That's the output. Blender includes three render engines with different strengths. We have eevee, which is physically based real-time renderer, and we have Workbench. It's designed for layout modeling and previews, and Cycles, which we've been using for long. It's physically based path tracer. Most renders from third-party developers are available as add-ons. Each renderer has its own render settings to control render quality and performance. What the render looks like is defined by the cameras, the lights and materials. These are shared between eevee and Cycles. However, some features are only supported in one or the other. Blender supports interactive 3D viewport rendering for all render engines for quick iterations on lighting and shading. Once this is done, the final quality image or animation can be rendered and output. So this is the real-time Blender renderer. We will talk more on it in a bit. So in this particular video, we will talk about eevee renderer and lighting in Blender. Blender's default lighting. So lighting in Blender, remember we are in the rendered mode. This is the viewport shading rendered, like I said. So let's add our light here. And let's drag all our scenes to the middle. All our objects to the middle, sorry. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay, so now when I bring the light, it will come to where the 3D cursor is. So let's see how we can add light. Just like adding anything in Blender, Shift A. Let me enable my screencast key so that you can see what I'm pressing. Okay, so now when you look here, you can see it. So Shift A, and you see we have lights. We have point light, we have sun, we have spotlight, we have area light. Let's start with the point light. So you see immediately the scene is it's lit a bit. Okay, so the point light is an omnidirectional point of light. That is a point radiating the same amount of light in all directions. It's visualized by a plain circle dot. Being a spotlight source, the direction of the light hitting an object surface is determined by the line joining the light and a point on the surface of the object itself. It can be used as simple model. Example, we have light bulb. So if I select the light and hit the object data properties, you see we have the point light here. And just like the others, it came here, but this one is the selected one. That's the point light. We have color. Color is just adding color to the light. You see, let me zoom in a bit for you to see. You see, I added some yellow light, so the color looks like yellow or warm. Let's change it. You see, it's just changing the color. It's up to you and how you want to make your scene. And we have the power. That's the intensity of the light. You see, when I increase the power, you see the place is getting more lit. And when I reduce it, so that's point light. And let's hit radius. Radius is the size of the point light. So that is area light. That is point light for you. Let's move straight to the area light. Follow me as I go. You see, when I switch to the area light, it is now square. It's no more spherical. Check. This is sphere, and area light, this is square or rectangle. Okay, so that one too, you can change the color to whichever color you want depending on the scene you are going for. And we have the power, which increase the intensity, and it's measured in watt W. And you see the shape is square, but you can change it to rectangle or disc shape like the spot, or you can choose ellipse, but I'd rather stick with square. And you can increase the size, you see. Likewise, you can come here, hold it, and Blender is not allowed now. But what, Blender crashed? I don't know what I did. Interesting. For some reason, Blender crashed. I don't know, but I have to bring it back. So let's move this back again. This is the first time happening. Okay, so we were at the light. So Shift A. Let me enable the screencast key again. Shift A to bring the lights, and we were going to the area light. So this is area light. We finished with the point light, and now we were on the area light. So let's go to the rendered mode and see. This is the area light, and I told you when you come to the object data properties, this is the power. You can increase the power. You see the scene is getting lit, and you can change the shapes, the various shapes. Yes. So for now, this is what you have to know, and as you go forward, you will learn more on it. Let's see the shadows. You can off the shadows, and you see there's no shadow in the scene, and it looks very artificial. But if you put it on shadows, you see you get some shadows, and clip start and clip end. We will talk more on all of this later as we advance forward. Okay, let me just toggle it in back and choose a spotlight. Okay, so with the spotlight, this is how it is, and just like it's saying spotlight, so it's lighting a particular spot, and you can see it's defined proper here. Look at this one. And with the spotlight, we have the size of the outer cone of a spot, which largely controls the circular area a spotlight covers. This slider in fact controls the angle at the top of the lighting cone and can be 1.0 to 180. So as you can see. And we have the blend. The blend slider controls the inner cone of the spots. The blend value can be between 0.0 to 1.0. The value is proportional and represents that amount of space the inner cone should occupy inside the outer cone size. So when I increase the blend, watch what happens here. You see it's blending in, and it becomes rigid at the outer part when it's on 0.0. So that's the blend. And we have the show cone. It displays a transparent cone in 3D viewport to visualize which objects are contained in it. So that is the spotlight. So let's come to the sunlight. We have the sun. A sunlight provides light of constant intensity, emitted in a single direction from infinitely far away. It can be very handy for a uniform clear daylight, open space illumination. In this 3D viewport, the sunlight is represented by this circle, encircled black dot with rays emitting from it, plus a dashed line indicating the direction of the light. The strength of the sun is measured in watts per square meter. Typically, values are around 250 for an overcast day and 1000 for more direct sunlight. So now that we've seen the 4 basic lighting, default lighting in Blender, let's see which one will best suit our mini setup. Okay, so let me change this to an area lamp and see. Okay, remember you don't have to make the intensity so high that it will blow or overexpose a particular place. You need some photography lessons here. You can find out more on lighting, how photographers light their objects and videographers also light their scenes. So let's see here the place is a bit dark. Okay, in the first place I'll add a background so that we will see our environment well. So Shift A to add a plane and scale the plane very big. Okay, so I'll push it here a little, and the plane has no color for now, so let's give it some basic color. Add new, let's choose white. Yes, this white is okay. And you see the white is not showing well because we don't have enough light in the scene. Let me come to edit mode and extrude this place upwards like a backdrop. E and Z to extrude upwards. Okay, we can select everything and scale it wider. Yes. So, or X and scale it on the x-axis. Okay. So now let's see. Now we realize our intensity, our light source is not very much. So let's see if we can increase the power. So let's increase the power to maybe 400. And you see, immediately our scene is lit, and it's almost as if our scene is hanging. So let's push the backdrop up a bit so that it will fit the place. Let's teeny tiny one. Yes. Okay, so now our scene is lit a bit, but it's the light is coming from just one source. You see, we can increase the size, and Blender is crashing again. I don't know why. If I increase the size from this place, Blender crashes. Let's see. Oh, it crashed again. Let me pause the video. I've learned my lessons. I'm not going to scale from this place again. You should too. I don't know why Blender crashes anytime I try to scale from here. I had to rearrange the scene again. Let's continue. So the size, I'll rather increase it here before I crash Blender again. Let me push this one backwards. You see, the scene is a bit lit, and it's almost nice and very cinematic because you can see some shadows here and you can see this. But like I said, with the renderer, we can come to the eevee render settings. Remember, this part we are dealing with eevee. The other part we will talk about cycles and workbench. So this is the eevee renderer. When you enable ambient occlusion, you see it will add some lighting from the objects in individual places. Watch this particular place, you see what I'm talking about. You see, okay, that's ambient occlusion. And we add bloom, it will just increase the environmental lighting. It adds some shady lighting. Watch as I demonstrate. We don't want bloom here. Okay, let's go to samples. I'm only showing you the important things you need now. As we go for it, you learn everything later. We have where is sampling. This sample, we have what we call noise, like video noise, picture noise. There are some small grainy effect that will be on your picture, and if you want to reduce it in Blender, you have to increase this sampling size so that. And this is the render and this is viewport. So when you increase this, the render will be very, very smooth. So do you think it's okay? We should leave the lighting like this, or okay? This brings me to camera. To add camera, so let me add camera so that we will view from the camera. To add camera, you shift A and you add the camera. Where is camera? And this is camera. Okay, so the camera. Oh, I lost my camera. Okay, let's see if you can see it. Yes, this is the camera. Let me bring it up a little. So this is camera in Blender. And there is this trick that I will show you. If I press 0, it will look through the camera. 0 on the numpad key to look through the camera. But you see, we can only see the chair and some part of the table. When you press 0, it will take you back. But when you come to the side panel, and for the side panel, and you come to the view, you can lock camera to view. When I lock camera to view and I press 0, I can now reposition the scene so that it fits in the camera as I want it. You see, and when it's not like that, when it is off and I click anywhere, it will just leave the camera view. You see, so if you want to stay in the camera view and just fit your scene in the camera, just lock camera to view so that you can position it however you want. So let's say this is how I want to position my camera. Very good. And to render in Blender, we've set up everything here. what you need to know right now is what I've taught you. So we set up everything here, and when you want to render an object in Blender, you come to render. When you click, you see you have render image and render animation. I'm trying to keep this tutorial very short as it's a 3 parts of this lighting and rendering series. We have render image and render animation. This is an image, so we choose render image, and as I want us to work fast and smart, the shortcut is F12. So I'll click F12 and see what we have. Okay, so this is our scene, and immediately I can see some light here and some fake shadows and all of that. Can you see? Okay, let's minimize this and see how best we can go about it again. So when you come to the eevee settings, we have shadows. Eevee, we have shadows. That's the settings for shadows. So let's explore. We have cube size, which I don't think you should use, but when it comes to the shadows, you can choose hard shadows or soft shadows, and you see what happens, soft or hard. And you can increase the shadow threshold so that it will soften the edges, or just, you see what happened. Now let's see, let's render it again, F12, and you see what happened here. Now the shadow is a bit soft, but it seems our bow is not resting on the table. That's what's causing the issue. So let's minimize again and see how we can fix it. You see, okay, let's fix this one too, and let's render with F12. It's a bit nice, but as we go forward, you will learn more about eevee and the shadows and how everything behaves very well, and how you can best output your scene. This is beginner, and this is the pure introduction to lighting and rendering. So play with this one, and as we get forward, you will master the rest of Blender lighting and rendering skills. So after you render an image, if no saved it, and you see when you come to image and you click save as, let me choose my desktop and type the name you want to save in, like let's say dining sets, and just save as image. When you save as PNG and RGB alpha, it will retain its quality. But when you choose this is for picture, and this is for picture, we have JPEG. JPEG loses quality with time, but I'll prefer you choose PNG so that you save quality and the image can be stored in for a very long time. So you save image. Remember, I'm saving to my desktop. I renamed it here. So let me go to my desktop and see if I have it. And you see I have my dining set. Sorry about this. I have my dining set. This is what I've saved. Now congratulations, you can now output an image from Blender. So everything that we've done, create something and post it on the Blender HBT Digital Blender 3D beginner group, so that we review and we see how best we can help ourselves. And any questions that you have or anything you didn't understand, just post it in the comments, and please don't forget to subscribe and like the video for me. As I will always say, it will really add value to my channel. Please subscribe and like the video for me, and share it to friends who want to learn 3D and Blender. As you've started, you see I go in depth and I come very solo so that you can understand from scratch. And if you've missed any of the series, go back and watch it, as I go in depth in the interface, that you can get more familiar and confident with the software. We will end the tutorial here, and because it's getting long, I don't want the tutorial to be longer. And we added light. To recap everything, we added lights, and we learned about, this is an area light. We tweaked some settings here, and we saw what rendering is, and we used to render image eevee, and we knew F12. We added camera, shift A, and we added camera to the scene, and to view in the camera, we press 0. And if you want to make changes or fit your screen to the camera, you just come and click camera to view so that you can just fit it in. Otherwise, you just break the scene from the camera view. So you hold camera to view and just fit the scene in it. And if you want to render, you hit F12 and you will render the scene. And you want to save, you come to image, save as, and you save to wherever you want. So this brings me to an end. This brings us to an end of the tutorial. I hope you've learned a lot, and I'm waiting to see your renders and your beautiful 3D works that you will post in the HBT Digital Blender 3D beginner group. Okay, thank you and bye for now.